Well, let's explore those first round results a bit further and talk to Douglas Yates, who's a Doctor of Political Science at the American Graduate School in Paris. Thanks very much indeed for joining us on the programme. So what do you take from these results? Do you think this is a sign that France is ready for change, or is it a further backing for Macron, giving him another chance?
Well, my view is that these results had been properly predicted by the polls, that we really should give a hand to the pollsters. There's really was no great surprise. Emmanuel Macron was predicted to receive approximately this number of votes, and he did. Now, as for change, there is a growing storm on the horizon. But if those polls were right in the first round, then they're also going to be right in the second round. That is, they asked voters, if there's a second round, who would you vote for in a race between Macron and Le Pen? And time again, people said Macron. So I think we have every reason to believe that Macron will remain in power, but with a smaller margin than last time. And perhaps 5 years from now, it will be the moment for the right wing to take power.
There is a large slice of voters, though, isn't there, who have voted for other parties, other candidates, such as Jean-Luc Mélenchon. A large number of the votes went to him. So what happens now to those voters? They have a big role to play in whose side to pick next.
Right. Well, many of the people who voted Mélenchon were actually supporters of some of the smaller and other left-wing parties. And they did what we call here a vote utile, a kind of strategic, useful vote. But those people who are Greens or Trotskyists or communists or socialists are never going to vote for Marine Le Pen. So my prediction will be they'll see no candidate for them and they'll abstain in large numbers. And those who do come out to vote will probably largely make a responsible vote as hostages for Macron, because consistently, whether it was her father or her, there's been an all but Le Pen vote in the second round. I think we should expect that, and I'm sure Macron is counting on it.
I want to ask you a little bit about party politics, because if you look at the two main parties that used to effectively run France, they showed incredibly poorly this time round, didn't they? So what has happened to the Republicans and the Socialists?
It's amazing. Those were the two ruling parties who had alternated in power for decades. Both of those parties split up over leadership battles. When Nicolas Sarkozy betrayed Jacques Chirac and took control of the party, he set a precedent among the Republicans, and one after another there were knife fights until they fragmented. The Socialists split up largely over Europe. That's when Mélenchon left, over the European Constitution. And then there was the battle where Ségolène Royal put her knife in François Hollande's back. And so there's been leadership struggles that have divided those two institutional parties, and their voters have been siphoned off by the three new polls: the extreme left, the extreme right, and Macron's centre, which is predicted to win.
And what do you make of the demographics of people who are voting this time round? Marine Le Pen had more votes in the sort of middle 35 to 64-year-old category, and Macron won in the over 65s.
Right. The people who are older, who say 10 years ago or 20 years ago voted against her father, remembered the Second World War. They had a living memory of what fascism was. Those people are dead now. And so what we've got are a group of people who have no personal memory of fascism, of the occupation. And for them, Marine Le Pen just seems like a Gaullist with xenophobia. As far as young people, the interesting thing, because they're the future, was that they voted overwhelmingly for Mélenchon. That is, if you look at the next generation coming up, there's going to be more on the left than on the right. But you're absolutely correct. The older voting for Macron, the younger for Mélenchon, but the big bulk in the middle are looking for something xenophobic, anti-immigration, and populist. And that's her base. And she might come in with 48, 49%, but she'll lose.
OK, Douglas Yates from the American Graduate School in Paris, thanks very much indeed for talking to us today.